السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وبه نستعين على كل أمور الدنيا والدين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين، سيدنا وحبيبنا وشفيعنا ونور قلوبنا وقرة أعين محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. نوينا التعلم وتعليم وتذكر وتذكير والنفع والانتفاع والإفادة والاستفادة والحث على التمسك بكتاب الله وسنة رسوله صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه وسلم، ودعاء إلى الهدى ودلالة على الخير ابتغاء وجه الله ومرضاته وقربه وثوابه سبحانه وتعالى، مع لطف وعافية برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم إنا نسألك علما لدني ومشرب صافي الهاني يا وهاب يا غني. اللهم إنا نسألك علما لدني ومشرب صافي الهاني يا وهاب يا غني. اللهم إنا نسألك علما لدني ومشرب صافي الهاني يا وهاب يا غني. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم، والحمد لله رب العالمين. آمين آمين يا رب العالمين. الحمد لله الحمد لله الحمد لله. We continue with our book خلقنا, our moral constitution of character, للعلامة الحبيب المجدد الحبيب عمر بن محمد بن سالم الحفيظ بن شيخ أبو بكر بن سالم حفظه الله تعالى وأدام الله نفعه فينا في الدارين. By the great scholar of our zaman, the renewer الحبيب عمر بن محمد بن سالم بن حفيظ بن الشيخ أبو بكر بن سالم. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserve him and prolong the goodness from him in us, inshallah, in both of us. And to where he has said, okay, I'm going to just and I've been on this point for a long time, so I think today we're going to move to the next point. But I just give a bit more commentary because the next I guess this point, the next point and the point after they all come together. They all come together. Let me just read the entire thing, okay? So the point I'm on right now is نهتم بتربية أبنائنا وبناتنا وأزواجنا وأهلينا على وفق منهجي التربية القرآنية والنبوية. Right? So that for us to really make it our priority, right? To make it our priority, to make it our concern, right? To make it the most important thing in our life, the tarbiyah of our sons, our daughters, our our spouses, our family, right? On the tarbiyah to be something on what is agreeable, right? With what is aligned with the way, right, of the tarbiyah in the Quran and the tarbiyah, right, from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I went into a long discussion about the word tarbiyah. It is a very big word, mashallah. Big word meaning that it has so many dimensions as to what it encompasses. And then the next line after that is somewhat like an expansion, of the most important part of this tarbiyah, which is mahabbah, right? So it says here, وَنَغْرِسُ فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ مَحَبَّةَ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ وتعظيمهما وما عظمه الله وتصغير ما صغره الله. Right? So the next one is, and to really embed or to really implant, right? Or to really, place deep in their hearts the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and that of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and the exaltation of them both, the exaltation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the exaltation of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and whatever Allah has exalted and whatever Allah has made great, and to belittle whatever Allah has made small, right? So that means to dismiss or to make low, right? Whatever Allah Himself has made low. And this is again, I know I want to take all this as a whole because they all come together. And the commentary is very long, mashallah. And how about introduce us, it took a long time to get through these points because it's really like each point is a book in itself. It's an entire course in itself, each one of these points. Then the third one, نكون لكم قدوة صالحة. To be a righteous leader, for them. See, they're all following up one after another. It is التعليم والدلالة بالأقوال أمور نظرية تدركه بالبصائر. والتعليم والدلالة بالأفعال أمور بديهية تدركه بالأبصار. وأرباب والأبصار أكثر. وأثر النفس بما ترى وتشاهد أكثر وأعمق من أثرها بما تسمع وتتخيل. Right, so here, this is the next point, whereby Habib mentioned about that, so to be a righteous leader, right, for them, right, to be a righteous leader for them, or a great role model for them, for indeed teaching, and guiding with your words, right? When you teach, you guide with your words, that it is something that is theoretical, right? It is theoretical, right? So basically, like when you say things to people, right, they hear the theory of it, but teaching and guiding with your actions, it becomes something that it is, it is something that is firmer and is stronger, right? For these people. So it's part of your akhlaq with those around you, that you become good role models in your actions, right? More than your words, right? Because what people see, it is deeper, in its impact on them than what they hear and what they can imagine. And so there's a greater impact, a more profound impact, in someone who, when they see greatness or they see goodness, like they see good character, they see piety, they see righteousness, right, in the people around them, especially in their own family members, in their own spouses, in their own parents, right? When they see in their own grandparents, when they see righteousness from these people, that is when righteousness is really embedded in an individual. Tamam. Okay. Right. So these 3 points, right? They all come together. Right. They kind of they come together in tarbiyah. Right. So we were speaking about the first point. So basically, how they come together is that the second point is is basically the most important thing you're looking for, right? To embed in your children, which is the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the ta'zim. ما عظمه الله, right? To exalt what Allah has exalted, والتصغير ما صغره الله, right? Whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made small, right? Make small whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made small, right? So, and going back to tarbiyah itself, right? So first part, so the first thing, the first big picture of tarbiyah, على ما وفق منهج التربية القرآنية والنبوية. Okay, let's look at the tarbiyah of the Quran first, right? So the big picture is the tarbiyah, or that is in the Quran, that is in the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's the big picture, right? So we inshallah, I'll try and get, like, the general principles, or extract the general principles in the tarbiyah that is stated for us in the Quran and in the hadith of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And of these tarbiyahs, of these points in tarbiyah, of these points in tarbiyah, or this entire, you see this entire like canvas of all the things to do in regards to tarbiyah. At the height of it, the pinnacle of it is mahabbatullah. Tamam. At the pinnacle of it is the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Also the pinnacle, you also the asas. Right? The love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the foundation of it, and the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the pinnacle of it. It's both. It is both. Right? So you're wondering, how does that work? It is. Basically, your entire life it revolves around the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? So the tarbiyah in the Quran. Let me look at tarbiyah in the Quran. Then I'll go into the mahabba and the ta'zim, because these two matters, mahabba, love, and ta'zim, exaltation. All right. Of what Allah has exalted, right? These two things, right? They are, I say they are the pinnacle, meaning they are the highest thing in a human being. The highest thing in a human being is their love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and their exaltation of all that Allah has exalted, right? And this highest thing in a human being, it also, actually necessarily forms the foundation of a human being, right? That all the laws of Islam, right, necessarily should be built upon a person's love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and an understanding of the aggrandization of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made great. And what and you say that the belittling, or the small, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made small. Right. So like yesterday there was Habib Umar has been doing these classes every night. If you all have been tuning in, I posted up the translators in Arabic, but mashallah, there's such good classes, mashallah. He's been doing it every night, on with regards to the uh the way of the righteous, right? So, and mashallah, all these classes, mashallah, that he will quote all of the stories, of the righteous people, in the past, especially in the Ba'alwi tradition, and how they have raised their children. And yesterday, Habib was mentioning about one of the stories. I missed the name of the wali, or the scholar, who was involved in the story. Right. So I was listening to Habib Umar, right, and he was saying that there was this young man, who had a complaint. What was the complaint? I had complaints, right, to his uh to his teachers or to his uncles, whereby he was complaining about his father. Right. Yesterday we had a complaint, Sayyidina Omar, eh? Sayyidina Omar, a boy, or a man complained Sayyidina Omar about his son, and his son complained Sayyidina Omar, and Sayyidina Omar corrected the father. But this story, there was a young man, a young boy, teenager, yani, like he went to complain about his father, right, to the sheikh. To the sheikh, he went to complain about his father to the sheikh. And so the boy was like, my father does not teach me anything. Right. And then the sheikh was like, and then the sheikh called the father and said to the father, your boy claims that you don't teach him anything, right? And then the father was like, no, I teach him plenty, I teach him a lot of things, I teach him what is important, right? And then the father, I think like a qadi, I mean, a judge, and he said to the boy, so what has, your father claims that he has been teaching you, and you claim that you have not been taught, right? So tell me, has your father been teaching you? Tell me, really, has your father been teaching you? And what has he been teaching you? And the boy was like, yeah, he's not taught me anything at all. Right. And the boy was like, all he has done with me ever, is that he's taught me, Mukhtasar Latif and As-Safiyat al-Najah. Right. So the boy quoted two books in the Shafi'i fiqh. And they are basic books, but they're very important books. So if you can master these two books, you have gotten, like the what is important in Shafi'i fiqh. Right. So he said, my father, he only teaches me Mukhtasar Latif, right, and As-Safiyat al-Najah. As-Safiyat al-Najah. Right. So, and then the Qadi asked father, is it true? And the father was like, yeah, that's all he needs. That's all he needs. He only needs Mukhtasar Latif or Safiyat al-Najah, and I make him do it over and over again because he keeps not getting it. And he keeps forgetting the principles in Safina and Safina Najah, right? And then the Qadi was like, well, your father, he said that he has been teaching you, and you just confirmed it, and he just confirmed it. So what's your complaint about? And the boy was like, well, he didn't teach me, carpentry, or how to be a technician, or how to do all this kind of stuff, and he went on about, skills, skills of the dunya. And my father didn't teach me any of this stuff. He keeps talking to me about, about my fiqh. He keeps teaching me about my fiqh, and he's not teaching me all these other things that I want to learn. I want to learn, like how my friends, my peers are all doing. Right? They're all learning all this, how to make all these things, and how to repair all these things, and how to all this technical stuff. He wants to learn all these things, the technology and everything. And the father was like, well, I didn't stop him from learning these things. He can go and learn all he wants, but I don't have to teach it. And the father was saying, I don't have to teach it to him because, oh my boy, on a day of judgment, Allah's not going to ask me nor you, about what do you learn about how to fix a car. But Allah's going to ask me and you, about your wudu and your salat and your zakat and your hajj and your umrah. That's what Allah's going to ask me about. Not about, whether you know how to make a table or a chair or a car, or know how to program, a computer. And it's not going to be question on the judgment. And the Qadi smiled and said, boy, you have no case. Hey, if your father has done his job. Like he has taught you Mukhtasar Latif, he has taught you Najah several times. He has done more than his job. Right? It's not the job of the father to teach you all the other skills, of life. Like I mean, skills in the dunya. If you want, you can go and learn it yourself. You go find people to teach it to you. But it's not your father's duty to teach you all of this, dunyawi skills. The Qadi, he concludes in that way. So then Happy was saying, and that was the tarbiyah of the past, yani, like whereby now is the opposite. Aks is the opposite. Like whereby fathers and also mothers, like they're so obsessed with dunyawi knowledge, so obsessed with dunyawi knowledge. And how do we say that? Obvious, right? Like, so many people they're so obsessed with teaching their children, mathematics, sciences, how to read and everything from a very young age. You're forcing them on it, on this, right? Whereas at a very young age, what is important is, right, what is it right here? Mahabbatullah, right? The love of Allah, right? And akhlaq, right? That is this is the two most important things to be taught when they are young. And it will not taught when they are young, in the sense you start teaching them when they are young, and it's a lifelong lesson. Right? You will continue to learn this till you die. Right? The love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and akhlaq, good character. You start it off when they're at 2 years old, eh? 2 years old, you're gonna start it off. Even younger than that, by doing a lot of dhikr and awrad and doing a lot of ibadah, around them, right? And at 2 years old, you're going to continue doing this. I teach them, the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, teach them how to speak well, teach them how to use correct tones of voice, like teach them how to address their own parents, teach them how to address elderly, teach them how to, this some people the thing about it is that, parents are so obsessed, in teaching their children academics, right? That they want to do it all as early as possible, make force someone reading, force someone on writing, force someone on all kinds of things. That what happens is a neglect in akhlaq and a neglect in tarbiyah, right? In a way whereby you're not connecting their hearts to it. You're not making them love it. Because you're so obsessed with some numbers or some, I don't know, benchmark or some whatever it is. Right? So then it kills the heart. It kills the heart and destroys the akhlaq of a person. Subhanallah. This is what I mean by, that people are more concerned with worldly sciences. They're more concerned with academic sciences, with the academics. They're not concerned about akhirah, right? So and if you go beyond the young, kindergarten years, you go into primary school and secondary school, like even more you see this, even more you see them, really harping on just dunyavi sciences all the time, your math, your science, and just dunyavi stuff, your language, and no, subhanallah, where's the religion? I put to the side once a week, enough. Right? 5 days a week, dunya. Once a week, deen. Even if that once a week happens, then 1 hour in the week, deen. And then you have like what 20 hours in the week, dunya. Right? So what are you teaching? What are you implanting in their hearts? Like what subhanallah. This is why yesterday I was saying that really you need to put aside Maghrib and Isha for deen. You need to put aside Maghrib to Isha for deen. If you're not doing this, then what you are teaching is that deen is not important, right? If they have no portion of deen in their day, right? And this is a calamity, right? If you have no portion of deen, they are not, in the morning, I will give like a day, tertib. Right? In the morning, if your kids are in normal school, in government school, right? Even if they're in madrasa, just, have this for tertib. They wake up in the morning, right? Try and get them up a little bit earlier before Fajr. Try and do a training of that. We want greatness for our children, but we're not ready to push them on that. Like you want greatness in what? In dunya or akhirah? You want greatness in what? You can push them on tuition so hard because you want greatness for them in dunya, but you can't push them to wake up a bit earlier before Fajr for them to get goodness in Akhirah. You can't do that. You can't train them on that because you yourself not there, right? Yeah, see? Nice. So we need to push ourselves. Like, what do you want? All of these things matter. Like, you want to, give them tuition, after Asr and then whatsoever. All of these things, okay, halas, you're gonna do it. But none of it is gonna count on the day of judgment, right? Is it all gonna count on the day of judgment? Then because of that, they have no ngaji, they have no Quran recitation, right? Because they're so busy with their tuition, right? Subhanallah, right? So seriously, this is exactly what it is. Where's your priority? And where do the priorities lie? So many hours in the dunya and hardly anything in the akhirah. And when we say to you, to put aside this time for the akhirah, oh, so difficult, so difficult. There's no time. Right? It's time for family bonding. It's time for this, time for that. Yani, and when is the time whereby they create their bond for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is what's going to be questioned on the day of judgment. Not all this other stuff. It's not going to be questioned on the day of judgment. You put so much money into it, some more, right? So much money into stuff. It's not going to count for them on the day of judgment, and it might even, be detrimental onto them on the day of judgment. It might even be that the entire obsession with dunya, right? So focus, right? Focus. So but what I was saying is that if you want to do a full tartib for your children, right? Before Fajr, can you get up? Can they get up before Fajr? Like, can you start training? Right? Subhanallah, I know so many, you know, how many of our teenagers, right, wake up 5 minutes before sunrise, before sunrise. It's not even, ya Allah, we're trying to aim 5 minutes before, the break of dawn, right? 5 minutes before the adhan, we're trying to aim for that. Right? But people, I know of so many teenagers, so not even teenagers, adults, wake up. What sunrise is what? In Singapore, maybe 7 o'clock. Maybe 7 o'clock. They wake up at 6:50. What in the world, ya Allah? Where is your akhirah? Now, what are you thinking? Is it Alhamdulillah, I pray Fajr? Alhamdulillah, you pray Fajr. Alhamdulillah, you pray Fajr. Come on. Come on. You talk about deen and talk about, being religious and talk about this. I know, even adults, when I was studying overseas, previously, in Sham, and people studying the Sharia, they are studying the Sharia, right? And what time is the Fajr? Literally 10 minutes before sunrise. 10 minutes to wake up and pray Fajr before sunrise. This is something that I love about Tarim. I'm sorry, I'm biased about this, but I love about Tarim. Right? That the whole town is up. They are up right now at 3 o'clock. Okay. And now it's 2 o'clock here. But the town is up. Like, it's unheard of. People praying 5 minutes before sunrise. Unheard of. Like they are up, at least half an hour before the break of dawn. The break of dawn, not sunrise, break of dawn. Like they are at least 1 hour, 1.5 hours, right, before the break of dawn. This is what is normal, right? And then children wake them up earlier, try and train them. You care about the akhirah, no? If you care about the akhirah, start training them. On tahajjud. Tahajjud is core. It's core, but we hardly even get fajr, ya Allah. Hardly even get fajr. Where are we, ya Allah? But tahajjud is core. It is actually core in your connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have no tahajjud, you have nothing. But I know even asatiza, they're teaching the religion, and they have no portion of the night prayer. Teaching the religion and no portion of the night prayer. Like, really, ya Allah, really, this is the zaman that we're in, lah, and then talk so much and have all these big majalis and whatsoever. And then night prayer hardly there. Nothing there. Right. So the things that, ourselves, then our children, like it's just a whole issue going on. Okay, tamam. So I'm seeing all this stuff for us to hold ourselves to account. Okay. And of course, it's very, critical, of everybody. But that's what it is about. right? So to be critical of ourselves, and so that we can improve and get better, be better. And inshallah, wake them up. Right? If you're the only one in the house waking up before Fajr, why? Why? Right? The Prophet ﷺ will wake up saying, Fatima Zahra, do you not care about your family? Do you not know the hadith about where Rasulullah said, may Allah have mercy on the man that he wakes up, right? Before Fajr, he puts water on his wife, and his wipes water on his wife's face to wake her up, right? To wake her up. And this hadith is extended, right, to the entire family, right? That if you wake up before Fajr and you allow for them to sleep through, and you say, oh, poor thing, have mercy, have mercy. Yani, where's your mercy? The mercy is in training. I training them to get up, do a few rak'ahs, come. I do a few rak'ahs, come before Fajr, come. Right? There's the mercy because you're doing them a huge favor by making this, by making this habitual, right, for them. It's a huge favor. And we know in Tarbiyah, the righteous, they would even wake up their toddlers. They wake up their toddlers and make the toddler to say the Shahada, right? At a particular point in the night to get the body used to it, right? To get the body used to waking up at 3 a.m., for example. So they will just wake up their toddlers, right? And get them to say the Shahada. Then as they grow older, make them recite Surah Fatiha. As they grow older, make them recite Surah Fatiha, Ayatul Kursi. As they grow older, make them get up, take wudu, right? You can go back to sleep after that. As they grow older, get up, take wudu, pray 2 rakats, that kind of thing. So it is, this is how they would train their children. So the body gets used to 3 a.m. waking up, right? And ya Allah, on parents who allow their children to sleep late. Ya Allah. Ya Allah. So unhealthy, ya Allah. So unhealthy spiritually, so unhealthy physically, so unhealthy mentally, so unhealthy emotionally. The sleeping late, all right? Allowing your kids to sleep late is so incredibly unhealthy in every dimension. In every dimension. All right. So, if you really care for their health, right, especially, in primary school, subhanAllah, I have kids who tell me, oh, I sleep at 12 midnight, I sleep at 1 a.m., I sleep at, no, 9 o'clock max, get to bed. Okay. Or best pray, Azan Isha, pray Isha, sleep. Okay. Azan Isha, pray Isha, sleep. Wakhalas. Okay. And don't make them also, and then on the other extreme, those whose kids sleep before Isha, and your kids are 7 and up. If they're 7 and up, they need to be praying, okay? If they're 7 and up, they need to be praying, right? So they need to get their Isha in. Okay, you can't like, oh, they need to wake up for school the next day, so they're going to sleep at 8 o'clock and they're going to miss Isha. Is it going to be habitual? And I know adults, I know of adults, right, who struggle to pray Isha. I had, a student, like, and she, mashallah, will go for many majalis and whatever. And then one day she approached me and she was like, she has a big problem. And I said, what's a big problem? And she said, I don't pray Isha. And I was like, what? Because she was someone so much that was so righteous and so pious. And she said to me, I actually don't pray Isha. She does not pray Isha. And I was like, why not? Why don't you pray Isha? She said, I don't know, just not used to it. Just not, like the night will come. I'll do, cleaning up the kitchen, I'll clean the house, I will put away the food and everything, then I get very tired and I sleep. And I wake up, it's already Fajr. I said, you can't do that. You need to pray Isha. And she said, but how? How do I make myself pray Isha? And I said to her, take wudu and pray Isha. I mean, what else do I say? Take wudu and pray Isha. Program in your head, that 4 rakahs is way more important than filling up the kitchen. For goodness sakes, for God's sake, subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? Like, subhanallah, ya Allah. But there was no tarbiyah for her since she was young. The entire prioritization of Isha prayer, you know, and subhanallah, how many of our young, like, Isha is gone with them. They don't even pray Isha. They don't pray Fajr. I'm talking about Tahajjud, and some people here are probably thinking, they're not even doing Fajr. They're not even waking up for Fajr. Calamity, calamity. How far are we? We want to compare ourselves to the great people, of Islam. And then can hardly even do two, can't hardly even can do 2 rak'ahs before Fajr. Where are we? And it's not hard. Really, it's not hard. You just gotta get you get your tertib right. Get your tertib right. And sleeping early does wonders for your liver if you want to go by the science of it, right? Some people like you gotta go into science before they get convinced. So you say to them, oh, sleep right after the Isha Sunnah of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. It gives you the tahajjud, and you give all the spiritual reasons. It will not cut it for them. You go to the way of science, they say, oh, it will do wonders for your liver, it makes you lose weight, gives your skin, a glow, it removes all your wrinkles. Then they begin to be earlier. Right? It's how we are. Allah. It sounds so cynical about everything. Okay, but anyway, mashallah, right? So tarbiyah Qur'aniyah wa Qur'an al-Fajr, Quran al-Fajr, right? So I was just starting off with the day, right? I would say, if it's a goal, right, to get yourself and them up before Fajr, right, and do some Quran, right, do some revision of Quran. Morning time is Quran, khalas, right? Your kids are going to school, really, do some Quran with them in the morning. Right. So even if it's not recitation, I would say memorization. Right. Memorization. I would say that. Right. What is stopping you and them from memorizing just a little bit in the morning? The one ayat or to revise. I would say, can we start off, memorizing the Quran, especially the Fadail as-Surah, like the surahs that are important, right? Surahs that are important. Right. So for example, begin them. I would say Surah Yasin, first thing first. Right. So recite Surah Yasin together. Right. Of course, Surah Al-Latif together. Like, and then do a memorization. Maybe take 3 verses. Can you memorize this for 1 week, or for 1 month, how long it takes. Like, and eventually they're gonna memorize Surah Yasin. Right. But get them into full memorization. I know people can you can, like, is it memorize? And you can accidentally memorize the surah without putting in effort. That's true. When you keep doing it every single day, that's true. But you have not actually memorized until you can actually close the book and sit there and recite from start to end without a mistake. That's called memorization. Okay. Many people will say, "Oh, I have memorized Surah Yasin," but when you take the book away from them, take their phone away from them, and tell them recite now from start to end, right? They go in circles. Because Surah Yasin has a lot of ayat mutashabihat. Right? There's a few ayat in Surah Yasin that means you go in circles. Right? So I would say you have not memorized. You actually have not memorized. Right? So I say what's stopping us from actually doing this together? Right? Point out where are the verses that are similar in Surah Yasin. Learn something from Surah Yasin. A little bit in the morning, a little bit. But I'm giving you all like the entire, array of things to do. A bit. What's stopping you, right? From a bit. And then comes in Fajr, the Azan is early, like you get ready, pray, then get ready for school, then go to school, right? And when they come back, right, they have their lunch, right? Okay, for me when I was in primary school, I would just do my homework straight away. Or do homework in school. Or just kind of people who do homework in school. Right. I was that kind. Just do all homework in school. So like I have no homework. Like, but I mean, if you want to do homework at home, do it like do Zohor time. For me, Zohor time is homework time. Okay. For most kids, I don't know, they don't really sleep Zohor time. I didn't sleep when I was in primary school, even in secondary school. I didn't sleep Zohor time. Only when I'm adult right now, then I start sleeping Kailula. But when you were young, you're like, go home, you're just so awake, you have not so much energy, right? And then do your homework. As the time comes around, go and play. I do some play, and it's a healthy lifestyle, right? And then of course pray on at the azan. As far as possible, if you can pray on time at the azan, I do so. So when they come home, first thing first, dhuhr. First thing first, dhuhr. Of course, if you're hungry, you can do lunch first. Right, lunch first and then dhuhr. Okay, dhuhr, priority. Right, wake up before the azan of asr. Okay, wake up before the adhan of Asr. Daruri, like wajib. Someone sent me a video about this Sheikh, but he's a Wahhabi, like, who was saying, oh, there's no hadith and no proof about it being macro to sleep at Asr. Sleep lah at Asar, see what happens to you. See what happens to you. Right? You're gonna go crazy. Really, people who sleep at Asar all the time, right? They have, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of the issues in our zaman is because people sleep at Asar time. I'm pretty sure someone that did a study, huh? If someone would come in and say, I have all this migraine, all these issues and all this, or maybe they have a lot of, mental issues and everything. Maybe the first question you should ask them, do you sleep at Asar time? This is the first question, eh? Do you sleep at Asar time? And probably, yeah, I'm pretty sure probably you might find that a large percentage of the cases are people who sleep at Asar time. It's a terrible, terrible habit. Yeah, Allah, but I saw this sheikh online. I won't call him a sheikh, but he's a guy online. Like he does all this Q&A stuff. Be careful, all these, things online they pretty spread. He does all this Q&A. People call in, they ask him questions and he answers questions. And I've seen his answers to be wrong. His answers have been wrong, right? Whereby he said, oh, someone asked a question to him, can we eat the meat in McDonald's and Burger King in the West, right, in America? And his answer was yes, because America is a Christian country. That is so incredibly wrong. America is not a Christian country. America is completely atheist, right? They claim to be Christian, they're not Christian. And even if they are Christian, they are not Ahlul Kitab. They are not, right? And the meat there is not even, is it not halal? It is not tayyib, and the animals are being tortured. Do you not know? Right? The meat from all these major food chains or fast food chains is all, tortured meat. They grind the animal live, a lot of them, right? And on top of that, they also support Israel, ya Allah. And here you can say, oh, halal, ya Allah. Right, but anyway, I have some of his questions, his answers really off, really not correct. And one of the questions is I heard recently was that somebody asked him, about sleeping at Asa time, and he said no problem. No, big problem, big problem. You can't sleep Asa time, big problem. Any, my mother, she would even not let us as babies, as babies, she would not even let us sleep at Asa time as babies to preserve our intellect. See, masalah people, right? Make a kid smart, must ask the time. You speak about things spiritually, or they don't care. You speak about it in science, then they care. But really, تقوية العقول, right, to make your mind strong is actually before Zuhur speech. To make your mind strong before Zuhur sleep of one. To make your mind strong is before Zuhur sleep. But of course, they're in school. I'm also in school. I still can't sleep was over. I come home by 1 o'clock, 1:30. Right? So I can't sleep was over. So at least after Zohor, it's more of like, it's just restful, just to rest the body. After Asar, you're just destroying yourself. Right? It's just, you're destroying yourself. I think I posted something from Sister Halima on my WhatsApp. 'Cause it was also interesting, that before early mornings sleep is called Ailula. Ailula, early morning sleep. That one destroys barakah in your wealth. It makes you poor. That's the one before subuh. Then, after subuh sleep is called failula. Do you see I posted from Zaharima? Failula, right? And then there's a result of those who sleep that kind of sleep. Then that's duha sleep, after subuh duha sleep. Then before zuhur sleep is called qailula. Qailula is the one that makes your akal strong, your mind strong. Then after the whole sleep is called, I think it's called Hailula. I can't remember what she posted. And then after that, Asar sleep is called Ghailula. And that one is halak, halak. I don't want destroys the human being. Right. So I know my mom, she would actually, as us as babies, she would not let us sleep after Asar, even as babies. Right? She would make us, be awake. Right? But it's basically, training yourself on correct timing. Okay, anyway, it's already four, it's already 7:40. 2:40 here. I know a lot of comments online. Let me see. Um, I don't know where was it. Which is the first thing that they're supposed to be here. The thing about it, I mean, I'm on my phone. The thing about my phone is that I can't see the comments all the way back. Okay, the first thing I'm seeing is I used to wake my brother for Fajr. Okay. Um, shouted at and does some hitting, become scared of some time. How do you do this? Okay, how old are your siblings? And anyway, like where are your parents? Are your parents around? Because basically this duty, right? The thing about what I'm saying is that it's something to be trained since young. If they're already, teenagers, they're adults, you can't force people thereafter, any. If they're already teenagers or adults, and it's very hard, right? And usually it's the parents who do it, not the sibling. Because if you're a sibling, of course you're gonna be scolded. You're a sibling, right? Subhanallah. Um, uh, yeah, mashallah. The righteous, they see it as merciful that you wake up your kids before Fajr. Is min bab rahmah. Is merciful. Why? Because you're doing them a favor with regards to their religion. You're doing them a favor, okay, in doing that. Right. Yeah, just answered that about the no answer the babies and toddlers. Really, really, you need to if you arrange your day correctly, right? Answer time is really playtime, right? Just like the morning sun is good for the human being, the evening sun is also good for the human being. The morning and the evening sun, if you can get out, you can get out of the house, right, morning and evening, right? It's just good for your body, right? The sun, okay. Like the preacher, what is that? I forgot his name. What's his name? He's popular lah online. This guy is Wahhabi. He's actually Wahhabi. He's very strongly Wahhabi. Wahhabi meaning that he's not really Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, but he does give a lot of weird answers to his questions. Right. If you're sick, do you want to sleep in? It's up to you. But how about Aishun? Yeah, that's the name of the guy. But how about Aishun? She would quote Imam al-Haddad. Imam al-Haddad would be in high fever. It's Imam al-Haddad, right? MashaAllah, Imam al-Haddad. He'd be in high fever. So high, his fever, that if he were to use 40 blankets, you could feel the heat of his fever ab- above the 40 blankets. Imam al-Haddad. When night prayer came, he would say, "Oh, Nafs, you want to sleep? I will fight you, oh Nafs," and he would throw off his blankets and he would pray in his high fever. That is Imam Al-Haddad. Inshallah, we can push ourselves. Yani. It's up to you. Yani. At the end of the day, it's sunnah. Yani. How do you correct the adab manners of your nephews without offending your siblings? Correct your siblings, I would say. Honestly, go to the parents directly. Go to your parents directly and tell them, like advise them. I mean, gently, don't just go to them and first start, insulting them. No, but gently text them or something. Sorry, I just want to see something, or I hope this doesn't offend you. I'm not trying to offend you. I'm just concerned about your children. Just from a concerned auntie, I want to see something. The kind of thing. I have done with my siblings, with myself. And I would just post it, or I would just text them directly in that way, right? Yeah, because the worst thing that you could do is that you're trying to teach your nephews something, and then their parents say something else. So they'll be like, "Oh, my mother say can, my mother say can, my mother say," you get me? You're the auntie who's like, actually you have to pray. Now my mother say I don't have to pray, right? See, so you don't, you're barking up the wrong tree in a sense. You're gonna go to your siblings, and speak to them. Right. Um Ya Allah. Uh yeah, I know people who mistreat their children with a high scolding or whatsoever. The thing about it is that really, it's really it's really out of your hands. You gotta understand that it's out of your hands. You can advise them, you can send them posts. I think they just posted out recently one post about being gentle to your children. Right. You follow Ustazah Halima's library. So Halima has a library page. So Halima Latif. So I'm promoting her library. She told me to make my own library, but I'm not done it yet. But I follow her library page. So follow her library page, and you can get it there. You can get it there. She posted it there. Right. Naam. Right. So, no. Okay. Yeah, if they say back, I mean, the thing about it is that the thing about people, you advise them, they will hit you back on it because they feel so defensive about advice, But really, is the way you advise, and the way you also take it when they say about your kids. So, yeah, I understand, and I also appreciate that you advise me about my children. I'm not, so in the sense that when they say back about your kids, say, yeah, I agree with you. I still have a lot of work to do with my kids. Say that. What's wrong in saying that? Right? So you say that your child is this and that whatsoever, and you say over your kid, and you just say, yeah, I know, I actually know that. I'm trying, I'm working on that. I'm trying, and you could give me advice too. Like you could give me, your opinion on that. Maybe we can work together with our children. Go that way. Like what's stopping you, right? So don't have to be defensive. Like you like, oh, they're so defensive. You're so defensive. Don't be defensive. Be positive or just be open about it. They want to say about your children, good, good. They're giving you advice about your children. Good. That's welcomed advice, right? If they tell you that your kids are disrespectful, I mean that's advice to hear, and there is advice to hear. Your kids are disrespectful. Like hear that. When are disrespectful, I want to know. I want to know when were they, and don't be defensive about it. Right? Subhanallah. Okay, Alhamdulillah. Okay, inshallah, we're gonna start out today. Um, Ya Allah, these 3 points, I think I'm trying to get through them quickly, but it's just so much to discuss. Inshallah, tomorrow I will go on to the next point about mahabbatullah, right? The importance of mahabbatullah. I actually wanted to lay out the entire principles of tarbiyah from the Quran and the Hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I mean, there are like you would say pillars with regards to tarbiyah, the pillars of tarbiyah. Inshallah, tomorrow I'll lay them out quickly, inshallah, quickly. And then we'll go into mahabbah. And mahabbah is the strongest, is the foundation of it all. It's also the pinnacle of it all. Right? It is where everything revolves around. And for as long or you don't know how to instill love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in their hearts, and a ta'zeem, right? An exaltation of sha'airillah, an exaltation of all things religious. Okay, exaltation of all things religious, and a belittlement of all things dunya. Okay, all things dunya. See what kind of things you buy for your children, all kind of merchandise, what kind of cartoons, what kind of you know games and toys. You're exalting dunya, dunya, dunya in their hearts, right? So hard, especially with our boys, exalting the entire superhero culture. Exalting, is exalting because you buy it for their birthdays. You make their birthday cake, the kind of like some form of superhero thing because they like it. All this Batman or Superman or Spider Man whatsoever. It's exaltation of those who are disobedient of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, exaltation of dunya, exaltation of the West. You get me? تمام. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. الفاتحة. أن الله يرزقنا منافع وعملا خاصا إلى أرواح معالمنا ومشايخنا وذكرنا وإلى حضرة النبي محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه وسلم. الفاتحة. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. آمين آمين يا رب العالمين. Okay. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.